Hi, Sportster Paul here. We're here with our fourth impression of MasterCAM for SolidWorks. Thankfully, my buddy Dave, who made this test part to trip up cam systems, and it's done a good job on all the different programs we've tried, he took pity on me and not only upgraded his SolidWorks to 2020, he downloaded this same MasterCAM demo and showed me how he'd do the part. And so before continuing doing the bottom and stuff like that, I thought I'd show the way he did things and corrected some of the mistakes I made. So this is a little bonus feature we're going to have. Let's go up and check out. Here's where it was where we left it. It was test part 3. And it does take over a minute to load the part. And then when you save as a copy, it took a minute and a half, minute and 45 seconds. And it never shows. I didn't have focus. So now it's MasterCAM 4. When we end this, it'll be MasterCAM-4. Let's turn, I learned that the hard way, these little checks, if you hit top setup, it checks them all. If you highlight this, how did that work? You can do that and then think, oh, let's delete. That's not deleting what's highlighted. That deletes the whole thing and there's no undo and you've lost it. Another reason to save very often. So I got burned like that, but no tragedy because I do save often. The program hasn't crashed too much. If I try to do a copy on the way out, I'll do a click and copy right here. It'll crash the machine. It's done it every time. So when we start to do our holes and you try to copy paste, didn't work. But that's this machine, Windows 7, with 4 monitors, HP ZBook, 2 video systems, Intel and Quadro graphics. So let's turn, it's got all the toolpaths lit up. So you can, like machine group, it's got everything lit up. You can turn them all off. The facing, I managed to stumble through. The contour was okay. The top pocket, let's turn it on so you can see that. Oh, come on, I didn't want to do a toolpath. I just wanted to turn it on. So this is what I call the deep pocket. You can see deep pocket over there. It starts at the top of the part. We faced it and it goes down to the top of this little plateau here. And I griped when I did this that unlike the other CAM programs where I could just select this edge in SolidWorks and it projected it, well, I had to make a sketch for MasterCAM. Well, that's because I'm an idiot. If you go geometry here, here's the chain that I did all this work for. Deep pocket kludge, that's the name of the sketch that I made here, deep pocket kludge. Because I said, why are they making me draw a sketch? Well, partially because you have the command ribbon on, this command manager that puts all this stuff up here. You don't go down here and say project to tool plane. Oh, okay, that's good. So now we can take our previous selection, which was this sketch where I used SolidWorks to project onto a plane, clear that, and then do what we did in the other programs, use the tangency. Come on, use... What's going on? Why did I bomb out? I don't know. Surface finish parallel. Where are we? We're here. We're in geometry. We had our selection. Okay, I just bombed out too quick. Oh, it's very annoying. Select tangency. Okay, it's got all those edges. Now we need 2 more. And you can see the red. See, it's doing the project to the plane. Top of the thing. Then you just got to do this one. Zoom in. You get this one. And it's helpful. You can even see right here there's a gap in it because of this little segment there. Bang. And say yes. Actually, you can go back and look at it and you can get an idea how with the chain lit up, if I could get SolidWorks to work right. Yeah, so, the little arrow to the left means it's going to cut the inside of the pocket. All that stuff's normal. It hasn't changed anything. So that's a good sign. The toolpath turned dirty, even though it's the same exact geometry. It's not based on the sketch anymore. It's based on edges. So you do that. Let's dismiss this. Don't ask me again. It's a little naggy. And there's the new toolpath. And if you want, you can backplot it here. I learned about the mystery simulator. I know I should take training and read a 50-page book to learn MasterCAM, but I like to just dive in. So you say, okay, yeah, the toolpath, you can play it down here on the bottom edge, or you just accept it as it is. And you get that when you left click. index finger. It gives you this toolpath thing down here, and you can play it and do that, and even in the middle you can bomb out of it. If you right click, you get one of the two simulators. See, the machine simulation is this button up here, and that's the only one I thought I hadn't been using, except occasionally this other simulator would pop up. It turns out if you right click on the toolpath, it gives you this simulator, and this will do that toolpath. You see there's still stock, the perimeter's still there. It's like, oh, there's the mystery simulator. So that was good. So we fixed that problem, which means we can go back to SolidWorks. We can find that deep pocket kludge sketch and we can delete it because we don't need it anymore. Now, that was impressive, and I expect as much from Dave because he's a genius. Well, what do we do now? We do this, turn it off, go to the next thing he did different in his part. This one, this is what I call the shallow pocket. It does from the top of this little plateau down to do the bottom. Let's turn those toolpaths on. Spirals in, fancy. You know, MasterCAM makes beautiful toolpaths. Spirals in, does all that, gets the edges. I thought there was no way to get around having a sketch where you pave over these holes. That's what the sketch does. Let's see if we can show you shallow pocket. See that orange? Otherwise, it you know, goes to this edge and it goes to this edge here. You know, if you select the face, let's say, to drive this toolpath. Well, Dave, being a genius, showed me. And it's not, he didn't have to physically show me. He just sent me his part, and that's the great thing about SolidWorks. What did I do? I bombed out of that. I'm getting spacey here. Sorry. Geometry, right? This is it. Chain one, right? Sorry, I'm being a little clumsy here. Shallow pocket kludge. Clear it. And watch this. Do the tangency trick. I get some here. So you're all okay here, right? Do this tangency. If I can see it, I got to stand up to actually see it. I got a 1200 monitor and we're recording 1080, so that's why you get that joy. So then we got those, and where it's blowing up, this thing is thinking. You can tell because the zooms and rolls work different. Okay, so this one we don't want. So highlight it, and that disappears it. Now watch what Dave did. He went down here. Oh. It'll be much easier to understand if we do the project to tool plane business again. See? And the tool plane's down on top of this plateau. But you can see, right, it's doing that curl. We went straight down. Hard as it is to believe. Then you go there. It added. Go straight up. Go here. Go here. 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 Come on. Go here. Go here. Then go down. And what is it? Control. And all we have to do is, boy, is this thing slogging down. Add that. And it'd be nice if it said if it was a closed path. It certainly is thinking hard. So let's just say yes. Is it back to normal? I can hear the fan. Yeah, now it's back to normal. All right. So do geometry again. Oh, that was a good thing we did that, because why is there two chains? There's something that gets screwy. Put a little chain down there. And that you can just hit the delete key and it goes. Oh, no. Everything's goofy. And these don't have help, right? This is probably my video system screwing up. There's no hover help. But I learned you go there. Now you got this chain, and that's the chain we want, right? And we didn't have to draw a sketch. So you say, okay, toolpath is dirty, but we shouldn't have to change anything. I don't think, right? Accept it. There it is. So that was a good trick. That means, once again, let's start saving. Could crash at any moment. It's been pretty stable overall. That means we can take the shallow pocket kludge and delete it. This is great, right? The slopes kludge didn't work, right? Because it couldn't. I was trying to keep it from doing gouges down here last episode. and it won't recognize a sketch. I could select this surface and it'll honor that surface and won't do the gouges. So the slopes kludge is dead action anyway, but wait till you see how Dave fixed that. Meanwhile, let's go back here to MasterCAM. We did the pocket, everything's hunky-dory. Pocket standard, what is this? This is, I didn't put it. This is the flats, I think. Flats. I always like to label stuff. So this shallow pocket, this is the flats. Turn it on. Or actually turn off the other one. Turn on this one. Wonder why it always moves to the left. So this is the kludge I did where I did a little square, right? A flats kludge. I drew a big rectangle up to that edge and used a pocket. And I griped, amateur that I am, well, it's plunging and why doesn't it come from the edge and why can't I define this as an open pocket? Now maybe there's a way to do that. There is an open pocket function and I would think this would be perfect for that, but Dave had a much better way to do that. First off, he changed the sketch here, edit the sketch, click, and he said, well, instead of a pocket, make it a contour. Contour is a cool thing. Erase those, get out of the sketch. It's still our flats kludge. Toolpath is dirty, right? Because it doesn't know what to do. I wiped out the geometry. Although it's still associated with this. I don't know what would happen. Well, this will be fun. It's an adventure. Let's just clean up the toolpath. Now select open pockets or closed chains. Okay, so it fails. That's great. And it thinks, and I hope it comes back. No. It crashed. Teach me to be adventurous. So I'm going to stop everything. All the things recording. I think it's crashed, right? It's thinking hard. Yeah, close the program. Sorry. We'll be back in a minute. Edit sketch. Select that, delete it. Select this, delete it. Select this, delete it. I think that's it. Yep. Now it should do the same thing. Dirty toolpath. This time we won't investigate, see what it does, because we know what it'll do. It'll crash. Probably just on my machine, because I got this flaky machine. Now before, don't touch toolpath, don't touch anything. This is it, right? This was the shallow pocket. See why they put this red triangle, they keep moving it, and it's like, I don't want that red triangle anywhere. So what are we going to do? Parameters. Here in the parameters thing, change it to a contour, right? Tool, still a flat end mill. Yeah, I still want to whack off 1/8 of an inch at a time. Multi-passes. Oh, this is where I know for a fact I did 6 and it still left a little strip. You need 7 passes where it's set up for step overs and right. All this is easy to figure. I think, oh, this was a mistake. This was carried over from when I did a contour. I wanted it to be 20 thousandths under when I did the perimeter. So I'll save you a couple go arounds with the simulator. Why is it deeper? This is supposed to be 0. I think everything's going to work now if we do it. Say okay. The toolpath is dirty. Now do your toolpath, and that's just what we want to see. It with 7 of them, you see it gets all the way out to this edge because it's got that long line in the sketch, probably too long, right? It's going all the way out here. It doesn't leave little cups. So Dave taught me, yeah, just use a contour, Paul. Life is good. We're happy with that. Then the smartest thing he did, this is genius. Did I name this yet? Flats. Oh, it keeps moving on me. See, I think they really expect you to have it like this. I just don't know who designs user interfaces anymore. All right, maybe in the standalone package, all this makes more sense. It's crowbarred into SolidWorks. Surface finish parallel. Okay, turn this guy off. Or no, I did turn him off. What's that? That's a shallow pocket I got to turn off. Okay, turn. Getting click crazy. Dialog box dizzy. No, I don't want to rename it. I just want to pick it. Please stop helping me. Here's what I ended up doing. It's a surface finish parallel. Go here, and it's gouging down here. I'm using a ball end mill. This is what Dave did. What a genius. He's like, no. Take parameters. Don't use a ball. Use a flat end mill. But then don't go in a cross direction. Come down on it. Now he rough finished the whole part with a 3D fancy expensive package, roughing where you just take most of the material out. I'm not going to do that because that's a crazy expensive MasterCAM package. Where was it? Here, where I changed this to 90 to make them go across, put it back to 0, say okay, toolpath is dirty. Why do I keep, there we go. Oh, and it decided to give me the simulator over here on the other monitor, but don't worry about that. So now you can see it's coming down, right? So file, save, because we even burned once today. Wasted some of your time. I learned this checkbox thing. This is, if you hold control key, I assume. Control. Does shift work the way it's supposed to? Shift key? Yeah. So the normal Windows conventions for shift and control. Now it'll simulate everything, right? If you just do that and this, the simulator, this machine simulator, not the other one. So you can hit top setup, light it all up, do machine simulation, run. Here it comes. Let's start it. You got a high resolution monitor. It's easy to get the mouse turned sideways. All right, so it's doing the perimeter. That red I can't take out. It's because the tool is going beneath the plane on the bottom of the part. I'm sure if I define the plane as the stock plane, or if it would let me. It's doing the finish cut on the deep pocket. It's doing, oh, it's up in air. I could fix that. It did an air pass. It was up a little high, and that's, you can go look in the linking parameters and adjust it so it's starting cutting meat on that shallow pocket. Now it's doing the contour. First cut isn't very deep. Obviously, just the math headaches. It'd be nice. Bobcat says just make them equal depth, and it does the math for you. But no crisis. Now let's see if we can speed this up a little bit. Okay. Now watch this. This is great. Now I worry, is this too aggressive, right? Coming down like that. But what a genius he is, right? Because now it comes and it stops there, right? So it's not gouging anything because it's not a ball mill that's trying to stay perfect to this face. This one, when that corner comes down, and it's a nice big radius, bigger than wherever it was hitting that ball mill, right? It's got to be because it's only a 1/4 inch ball mill tool. What a genius. Dave, you're the greatest. So I thanked him for teaching us all a cool way to do this. So you get the principle now. Once again, maybe you should rough it. Maybe this is too aggressive. But the whole principle, the geometric principle, is what blew me away. It's like all the details about, well, I should probably carve a little stock before, rough a little stock before doing this plunge business. Maybe not. Maybe end mill can handle this kind of stuff. Does that one. And because they do make really cool tool paths, see how it's doing this here? It painted the tool paths a little bit off to the left. So rather than having to adjust on SolidWorks CAM, I made entry and exit. On other ones, I think I actually drew a sketch. Bobcat had this 3D extents. Maybe that's the way Visual Mill worked too. You could say 3D extents and it was smart enough, although it tries to wrap stuff down. And then look at this. Nice, crisp corner. Yeah, some inaccuracies, but nobody's perfect, right? If we can do our verification, that was instant, right? Just excesses. This is for the hole. This is for a hole. I think these excesses are just holes now. Oh, and maybe the stock itself, and I still don't understand why it's 3541 when it should be 38. But that's life, right? But you expect excesses on the hole and no gouge. See, the gouge is gone. This is great news. So that's what I learned from my buddy Dave, as well as saving a lot. Are we lit up here? Turn that off. Okay, so now the next issue. We got just enough time to broach this. And, okay, now I want to do the bottom setup. The top of the part is done pretty nicely. Now I want to flip the part over in the vise like this. So I know what that means. You got to start in the planes. And we want to make a new plane from geometry. And this plane will be the bottom of the part, face one. And we're going to call this part bottom. And we're going to make the origin, and I think I do this right. I'm not a real machinist, will know, but you can't make the part 0 the stock, because variations in the stock would change the overall height of the part, right? You've got to make it based on the part somewhere, where it sits in the parallels or that. I think, and you got to imagine there's a big slab of stock still on top of this right now. I think the way to do that is put it here, and then since I intend to have it in the vise here in my particular machine, my Avid Benchtop Pro, which I love so much, that machine, positive X is to the right, positive Y is to the back. Excuse me, it homes up front and up to the top. And I've learned, after lots of suffering, you go to this Z, you put 180 in, change focus, and that's exactly what we got, right? So it'll sit, fixed jaw of the vise will be back here, movable jaw will be on here. Oh, and so we're not quite done yet. You say yes. And now the deal is here, work coordinate system, not world coordinate system, work coordinate system. I think that's what sets part 0, I think. And then T is the tool plane. So with this lit up, you just hit that. And it moves them both down. And now everything is going to be referenced. Our new toolpaths will be there. I think this check mark means we have used this plane for operations, just like this top plateau we created, which I misspelled. I should correct that. We have that created and used, so that's what the check mark makes. No check mark here yet because we haven't used it in operation. So I'm all hunky-dory. This is the planes. It used to be up here, but now it's over here. Okay, great. What I want to see is new setup, and you don't get that choice. What you can do is go here and say groups, new toolpath, or a new machine. Now, my first instinct, and what Dave did when I said, hey, how do you do the bottom and I'm having trouble, he did another one. Let's call this bottom setup. Great, right? And now those planes are active. It's like modal. It's like a G-code modal. You know, those planes are chosen and picked and operating. So operations, I think, from now on, we'll use those planes until we change them. And everything is hunky-dory facing. Okay, that'd be the next thing. We want to face the stock off here, right? We're holding it in the vise now on the part itself. So we go here, we go mill toolpaths, we go face. Just like almost all the other programs, and just like the top facing, you don't pick anything. If you pick this face, it'll just do a pocket kind of, you know, and leave all the stock on the edges, and maybe it'll fall, and you know, maybe it won't. But you don't want to do that. You just don't pick anything, and it's suddenly stock aware. And it says, well, he must want to machine off all the stock. We go here, make sure it's a 1/4-inch end mill. And this isn't for me because of this Avid Benchtop Pro doesn't have the torque to run a 2-inch face mill. So I'm just, you know, I don't have a tool changer, right? Put a 1/4-inch end mill. Let this thing work for 3 hours. So that tool, cut parameters one way. That's the way it likes to do it. I'm fine with that. Linking parameters, depth is 0. Top of stock, I happen to know. It bothers me you got to type it in. It's not aware. I think the way to do it is say 0.4. This is incremental, I think, to the top of the stock. You know, I'm trying to figure all this incremental. They got a lot of baggage in this program. What else? Plane. Let's just check our plane. Part bottom, part bottom, part bottom. All right. So we'll go here. And, oh, I forgot. Part bottom is the bottom plane. Duh. It's, no, wait a minute. I put the origin there. So it wants to be down there. All right. This isn't a crisis. Parameters. We'll go, will this work for us? We go linking parameters, depth, associative. I want it to be here. Yes. And then I think the deal is, because you've picked this part, you want this incremental. I think. We'll find out. Toolpaths dirty. Oh, that ain't working, is it? Say yes. And how could we fix this? Like anything in software, there's 10 ways to do it. Is it absolute? Maybe. Let's find out. No. Oh, wait, maybe I haven't defined it. That would help, wouldn't it? Depth cuts. No, how about that? Take a 1/10 of an inch off each whack. 1/10 of an inch. Say okay. Toolpath. Still only has one of them. Okay. Parameters. Depth cuts. Depth cuts, 1/10 of an inch, finish 0, finish step, blah, blah, blah. Linking parameters, incremental. And now it's showing 8. I had this problem in practice too, and I kind of remembered what was going on then and why it thinks this. I think it just knows. So it's taking 4 on top and then doing 4 passes because the passes bring its own levels. So if I just go back to 0, I think everything's hunky-dory now. Hooray, there's our 4 shots. And file, save, 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 save. Oh, we're somewhere. We're in something, the back plotter. File, save, hooray. And, okay, so here's the problem where I had to use my lifeline, call my buddy, and he doesn't use this simulator, so he didn't see the problem. I want to simulate now, and I've learned, let's open them both up. I've learned, let's close this, so, okay, that's checked, but hit machine group, it checks them all. I want to simulate the top, and then I want to watch the bottom, and that's going to be cool. And I do what we've been doing all this time, and hit run. Toolpath is not correctly earned yet. The current machine, so it complains, and it won't do anything, and it won't let you run anything, and you close it. Do you want to rotate the toolpath? Doesn't matter if you say yes or no. It's not for a 3-axis machine. Now, I went on the internet, watched tutorials, which I have to do with this program only, and it's like, oh, well, if you have another setup, you don't do a new tool group. What I did here, group, groups, new, you don't do a new toolpath group, you do a new machine group. And maybe that's how you somehow trick this program into thinking you flipped the part in the vise. And then you define the stock, but then you have to redefine the stock. But if you redefine it the exact same way, it's actually smart enough. When you're simulating the whole mess, it takes away and leaves the chunk on the bottom, and it looks correct, like it's going to look here, except it can't handle neither of them. Even when I do it with a machine group, which is, I thought, the way to do it, you got to go back into settings, and this 3-axis machine that well, that's closest to my gantry mill. You know, I wish I had it. I wish I had an Avid. What I had to do, I think you can flip through them like this. And then after this one, after this one, it shows this with this turntable and carriage and 5 axes and 5-ax gen VTMC, blah, blah, blah. Same problem. Don't use stock. This will save you about a half an hour. Oh, no, please use the stock. That's why I paid for this program. And then say, okay, now everything's selected again? Yes. Now do machine simulation run. Now it doesn't choke. Because apparently a 5-axis machine, you're allowed to flip it around. And we can, let's go about middle speed, go run. We're doing the top, doing the perimeter. It went so fast it didn't turn red. Okay, doing the pocket, doing the shallow. Here's the shallow pocket. There's that. There's our slopes, and now it's facing this side. And when we're done, other than the 5 holes, which is going to be a separate show, that'll be our final 5 for 5. 5th episode will be the 5 holes in the bottom. There you go. And if we run our verification, it should show those holes. Show it instant, right? The 5 holes. I guess from both sides, right? I really don't like this little text box thing. This had to be a programmer's idea, as opposed to Visual Mill and SolidWorks CAM that shows you red and blue and green and color codes the excesses. Makes it pretty obvious. But that's okay, it's a win. Now, it's still wrong, right? There still should be a way to use a machine simulation with a 3-axis. I hope you don't have to make a whole new part, right? I mean, a whole new program to do the bottom. There's got to be a way. This is user error, right? And I've been watching stuff. Maybe Dave, when I said, no, I'm not talking about the right-click simulation where you right-click on a toolpath and get this simulator. That one probably doesn't care if this is here or that's there or what's going on. Where is it? Here it is. Zing. Okay, no problem. I don't know if I hit whole machine group and then hit right click. Does it have a simulate choice here? No. How about all of them are checked? Let's right click here and say run. I think it's just going to do, no, it just does that one operation. Okay. So there's still some figuring, head scratching to do for how to properly, I mean, it works, but it just makes me uncomfortable to tell it it's a 5-axis machine and then it'll do the bottom of the part. It is nice. I do like the fact of using a tool group because then you don't have to make a new stock, right? Then it's keeping track of the stock. But when I did do a machine group and made the stock the exact same size, it was smart enough to know that the stock had been removed in the earlier operations when I simulated. Okay, so that's today's fun. We got the part fixed up a little bit. We got the bottom started. Still haven't quite sussed out. I think I've got the idea about part 0 and all that figured. I hope I do. I'll check with my buddy Dave on that again. Meanwhile, thanks for watching. We'll catch you next time. Bye now.